Hey, you crazy cats, welcome to Leaving Crazy Town, where we navigate the roller coaster of relationships, mental health, and personal transformation with humor as our trusty seatbelt.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and with my buddy Finn, we're here to share our real stories, expert insights, practical tips to help you break free from codependency, reclaim your life, and find freedom.
So whether you're wrestling with boundary issues, craving connections that won't ghost you, or just here for a front row seat to the wild ride of self-discovery, you've come to the right place.
So buckle up, we're leaving Crazy Town.
Hey, welcome to Leaving Crazy Town with Finn and Sarah. Today, we're going to talk about a couple incidents where Sarah and I did not speak up and ask for what we wanted or needed, and we'll talk about how that turned out.
And we were discussing earlier about how important this is. This is the first tool to leave Crazy Town, finding your voice, figuring out what gets in the way of you speaking up, needing to identify your feelings, needing to identify your needs, learning how to share those with people that you're intimate with in your life. So these incidents kind of surprised us that we are still doing this intermittently. So that's why we wanted to break it down for all of you, because we know this is a huge deal in co-crazy recovery.
Yeah,
so,
and we know everybody's going to relate to this. So mine involves a barber shop. Okay. One of my greatest joys after transitioning is getting my hair cut. However, at the barber shop where I go, there's a barber who I don't like how he cuts my hair. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing. And then there's one that I love, and the other two, they're okay. So I'm taking time off of work. I'm buzzing over there. I'm all excited. Like Sarah can tell you, I send her all these fresh cuts. Like, hey, I just got my hair cut. Like, it is such a joy for me. It's something that I really, really enjoy. So I'm driving over there and I'm thinking, I start having fear and anxiety around, oh my God, what if that guy I don't like, what if that barber's free and my barber isn't? So I'm like, all right, you're just going to say, I'm waiting for this guy, because it's common practice in the barbershop. It's all walk in, there's no appointment.
Yes.
And I walk in and all 4 chairs are open. And now, mind you, I'd practiced because I'm fearful. Like, I know before this happened before, I didn't ask for the guy I wanted. I got the guy I don't like. I didn't like my hair. And I'm like, oh, it'll grow back. And the thing is, it took the joy out of something that I really enjoy going there. I love getting my hair cut. I love how it feels when the guy that I want to do it does it. So I get there, all chairs are open. The bad barber says, hey, bud, come on over. And even though I practiced in my mind and I was like, this is what I'm going to do, this time I'm going to say, no, I'm waiting for this guy. Dead silence. And I'm already like, all the joy is already out of me. I hadn't even sat in the chair yet. And I felt like I betrayed myself. So I had some anger around that. I was like, what do you know? And then I'm like criticizing myself in my head because I didn't open my mouth. And now I'm going to get what I deserve, right? And it was the worst haircut. It was the worst haircut. I'm sitting there. So most of the time, my hair takes about 15 minutes. Front to end. I'm in 45 minutes into this haircut. He's taking out another clipper. He's going out back. I'm like, is he drinking or praying? I don't know, because he doesn't know what he's doing. The hair is uneven. I did speak up once. There was a big ledge, and I said, oh, I don't like that ledge. Can you fix it? There was another half an hour. But I literally, you could tell he didn't know what he was doing, and I couldn't open my mouth. And I'm sitting there praying, like, you can ask for help. And I wanted to tell him, like, why don't you ask for help, And I just was praying inside that he would do something. Osmosisly, I just wanted him to get help. And I could see the other barbers looking at him, like looking at my hair. And I'm like, oh, geez. Anyway, I felt like I really betrayed myself. And then I'm like, well, you got that crappy hairdo, So I left the barbershop feeling depleted and crappy. And
all right, stop for 1 second, though. Stop for 1 second before we get to the solution, because I know, because I've talked to women for years, that this is a huge thing. Like, just specifically the haircut, I've known plenty of people that get the wrong color, the wrong cut, and they just can't speak up and say, let alone in the rest of their lives, in other environments, whether it's at work or with their husbands or with their wives or whatever. So this is such a powerful example. And when you think about it, it's a barbershop. It's a total stranger. So something was getting activated for you. And now that you thought about it, what do you think was happening?
Yeah, so I processed it a little bit with Sarah because I most of the time I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And then obviously there's some underlying stuff. And it really wasn't about hurting the guy's feelings. It was about calling attention to me. So, when I lived my life presenting as female, I would literally go into the beauty shop or whatever the hell it's called. I can't even remember. And I would tell whoever, just cut it. I didn't care. Now I care. And so I've never had this experience where I had to like say what I want. Going to the barber shop was a new experience. And I was really nervous and excited about it, but I was also afraid like to call attention to myself there because of my transgender stuff. But this time was slightly different. It was, whenever I requested anything or said what my needs were to my parents, I got punished for it. So not only did I have this, like, I don't want to call attention to myself, I also didn't feel safe. And safe at the barbershop. Like, what the hell are they going to say? But I was activated and there was not much I could do about it. If I had taken some time and paused, I might have done something, but I already have a little bit of anxiety at the barbershop. So took the fun out of it.
It's such a great example, though. It's such a great example of like how the past feeling unsafe as a kid can manifest when you're in the barbershop. So that's why it's so critical to discuss. I mean, I think tons of people watching this video can't speak up for their needs, let alone even identify their needs.
And I want to be clear. I've never had an incident that would get me to think that the barbershop wasn't safe. It's always been fine. It literally was everything inside of me. But I was so activated, I couldn't tell. And then once I was in it, it was like to then speak up was an even greater hurdle. So I let it ride. My hair was awful. I ended up reaching out to another barbershop, at someone's suggestion, and I made an appointment. I got my hair fixed the way I like, and, some good things came out of it, but I was really surprised. I'm talking about, I got to speak up with family or friends or relationships, and I can't even talk to a barber. I mean, I really was surprised, but
absolutely. And I think, God, it's interesting because now I'm wondering, like, you don't know if it's a safe place. Like, that's the other thing. Like with me or with friendships or with other people, it's safe, but maybe there's just something that
I have witnessed, Sarah. I can't say I don't know it's not safe. I have witnessed countless men say, "Hey, I'm waiting for Joe," or "Thanks, I'm going to wait for that chair." It's not
nothing happens.
Practice. It was all.
It was
wouldn't
all
have been a big deal at all, and my guy was available.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, think about, sometimes there's certain people that we struggle with speaking up to. So it could be just certain people in your life. Some people are fine at work and not at home. Some people are fine at home and not at work. Some people in certain contexts can't speak up. Maybe they can't speak up in a group. So really just think about, I should have gotten the book out that has the list of needs.
And how mind-blowing it is, Sarah, that I'm paying for a service.
Yes.
It's not like it's doing me a favor.
It's like a massage, though. I've had people where I've been at a massage and the person's talking and I don't want them to talk. And I don't say, could we just have some peace and quiet? And I think it's because you're naked and this person's touching your body and you're like, you just feel so vulnerable. And maybe that's the context in which that could be a piece of it too. Like when we're feeling vulnerable, it's harder to speak up. Yeah. Whereas in other contexts, at Dunkin' Donuts, ask for my coffee to be fixed, I'm not necessarily feeling vulnerable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been there too. And then you leave the massage totally irritated instead of
exactly. Exactly. So this is so critical. And so we're going to ask the audience, maybe put in the chat or think about when was the time that it was really difficult for you to speak up? Think about something that's kind of random, like the barbershop. I was going to give an example of getting my oil changed and having trouble saying no to getting an oil filter when I know I don't need an oil filter. It's the same thing. It's these places where, seem meaningless, but there's something about, I was trying to figure it out. There's something about, oh, they know better. I'm clueless. I don't know about vehicles. Maybe they're right. Like I did a lot of rationalization, even though like I could literally see the oil filter was fine. But then I had all this self-doubt. Like maybe they're right. It's like you start doubting your own reality. That's a whole.
Yeah, I had told Sarah one time that I was getting my hair cut at Pro Cuts, and this woman was like drunk and nodding off. And I knew this was going bad, but I couldn't say, please don't cut my hair. Like she literally was nodding off, and she took a chunk out of my ear so bad that I finally was able to say haircut's over. And I had blood gushing. But it took to that. It was very dramatic. I don't know if I told you that story, but that was about 10 years ago where somebody was cutting my hair and literally passing out. And then the manager came over and the person had just come back from a rehab. They had an issue, but I didn't say anything until I got my ear cut.
Right. But I think that's another example of just minimizing and checking out and thinking, oh, this is going to be okay. Like it's what we say to ourselves. It's going to be okay, rather than checking in with how we truly feel, because then we have to take an action about it.
And we have a right to speak up. That's the piece.
Yes.
And it's easy for me to say, oh, I didn't want to hurt so-and-so's feelings, or I don't, but it's really about me. And if I take the time to look at that, then I'll speak up. I know.
Yes. And you know what I just thought of? On another video, we'll go through the Bill of Rights that we use. Yeah. Because in this book that some people might find really helpful, it's called the Anxiety and Phobia Workbook. It has a list in there of the Bill of Rights. Like I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to speak up for my needs. I have the right to express my feelings. All of these things that we don't think of unless someone tells us. So think about your assignment for the week is what? Think of if something happens and you really feel like you want to speak up for yourself, notice what makes it difficult and see if you can do it in an easier context, like especially if someone doesn't get your coffee right. If it's more challenging, then just notice what's happening for you and what's making it difficult and what's the story you're making up in your head.
And if you can't say what you need, for whatever reason, just be kind to yourself. I felt really defeated and like a failure. And it was, I try to laugh at myself, like what was it or whatever, but I was pretty down about it.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't even feel like it was okay for me to go get my hair fixed. And luckily I went to somebody and they were like, no, go get a new haircut. And I did, and I felt great. And, but I have to sometimes say, like, talk through it with someone else, because I'll tell myself, well, that's the haircut you deserve because you didn't open your mouth. And
absolutely.
We're not in the punishment mode here. Like,
no punishment, spaciousness, kindness for yourself. And I'm literally, Finn, maybe because you didn't care before what your hair looked like, lots of people are going to relate to this because I've heard haircut stories for years. So if you relate to this story or not being able to speak up, think about something that might be helpful and take a small step, a small risk, because we're leaving Crazy Town. Fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah, and subscribe.
Thanks for listening to Leaving Crazy Town. We hope today's episode offered you valuable insights and tools to help navigate your relationship.
If you found our discussion helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. And share it with a friend. Misery loves company, right?
Stay connected with us on social media and visit our website for additional resources and updates on future episodes.
Until next time, remember that breaking free from codependency is a journey, and we're here to help you every step of the way. And hey, if all else fails, at least you'll have a few left.
So buckle up. We're leaving Crazy Town.